Do you remember Sunday dinners like these? When the smell of a real meat pie wafted from the oven and filled the whole house. When the wooden table was set with checkered tablecloths and ceramic plates. When each meal was made by hand with time and with love. There were dishes in Canada that were part of our lives. Dishes our grandmothers made, that our mothers learned to cook, that disappeared without us even noticing. If you grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, this video is for you. Close your eyes and let me take you back to those kitchens. Number 10. The real Quebecois meat pie. Do you remember it? Not the frozen supermarket version. The real one. The one your grandmother made on Christmas Eve with ground pork and veal, seasoned with cloves, cinnamon, and nutmeg. The dough was made by hand, rolled out on a wooden table with flour dusting the air. The filling simmered slowly on the stove, filling the house with that aroma that meant Christmas had arrived. At midnight, after the family returned from midnight mass, everyone gathered around the table. The torture was served hot with homemade ketchup or pickles. Simple, perfect. Today you can still find torture, but it's not the same. It lacks the time. It lacks the care. It lacks those hands that knew exactly when the dough was ready. Number 9. Homemade butter tarts. Every Canadian knows butter tarts. But how many of us still eat the real ones? Those made in small metal molds with a crumbly crust and a sticky filling of butter, brown sugar, and syrup. Some had raisins, others nuts. There were family arguments over which was best. In the 60s and 70s, every neighborhood bakery had fresh butter tarts in the window. You'd buy half a dozen on Saturday morning, still warm, and eat one on the way home, saving the rest for afternoon tea. But the bakeries started closing, the recipes were lost, and today what we call a butter tart is often an industrialized version. Too sweet, without that perfect texture that only time and care could create. Number 8. Molasses cake. There was a cake that appeared in every Canadian home in winter. Dark as night, dense, moist, made with molasses, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves. It baked slowly in the oven, and the smell filled every room. It was served warm, with melting butter on top, or maybe with homemade whipped cream. It was a cake that warmed you from the inside out, that lasted for days in a metal tin. It was taken to neighbors, to the sick, to anyone who needed a little comfort. But molasses went out of fashion, the recipes were forgotten, and the cake disappeared from Canadian tables, taking a piece of our childhood with it. Number 7. Oven-baked beans. Every Saturday night, in thousands of Canadian homes, there were baked beans. Not the canned kind, the real thing. Navy beans cooked slowly in the oven with bacon, onions, molasses, and mustard. They would bake for hours until tender and caramelized. They were served with homemade bread, still warm from the oven, sometimes with sausage, sometimes with fried eggs on Sunday morning. It was cheap, it was filling, it was comforting. But the world got faster. People stopped having time to cook beans for 5 hours, and the dish vanished, replaced by quick versions that never tasted the same. Number 6. Maple desserts. Canada is famous for maple syrup, but back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, maple wasn't just for pancakes. It was used in everything. There was maple cake, maple pudding, maple toffee made in the snow, and melt-in-your-mouth maple cookies. Families would go to the sugar shacks in the spring, watch the syrup being made, and eat entire meals drizzled with fresh maple. Today, the syrup has become an expensive export product, and those homemade maple desserts have all but disappeared from our tables. Number 5. Traditional casseroles. If there was one thing every Canadian mother knew how to make in the 60s and 70s, it was a casserole. There was no Sunday dinner without one. Pasta with tuna and peas, chicken with rice and mushrooms, ground beef with scalloped potatoes. Everything went into a glass dish and baked in the oven until it was bubbling and golden on top. It was served straight from the dish with large spoons, and everyone had seconds. But the casserole went out of fashion. It became synonymous with old-fashioned food, and it disappeared, taking with it the comfort of a meal made with love. Number 4. Diner dishes. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, every Canadian neighborhood had its diner. Small, cozy, with formica counters and swivel stools. You walked in and the smell of bacon, eggs, and coffee filled the air. On the menu, a 3-story clubhouse sandwich, poutine before it was fashionable, meat pie and thick milkshakes served in metal cups. Everything was made fresh, by people who knew your name. You went on Saturday morning, had coffee, chatted. You belonged. But the diners started closing, replaced by chains and fast food. And that honest food, made with simple ingredients and great care, disappeared. Number 3, homemade bread. It was Sunday morning. You woke up and the smell was already there. Bread baking. Your mother or grandmother had started early, kneading the dough, letting it rise, shaping the loaves. The oven heated the entire kitchen. And when the bread came out golden, crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, you'd cut a slice while it was still warm, spread butter on it, and eat slowly, savoring each bite. Today we buy bread at the supermarket, too soft, tasteless, without history. We've lost not only the bread, but the ritual, the time, the patience, the love that went into each loaf. Number 2, winter meals around the stove. In the Canadian winter, when snow covered everything, the kitchen was the heart of the home. The stove was always lit. There were thick soups simmering for hours, meat stews with potatoes and carrots, bread baking, tea being served in ceramic mugs, families gathered there. There was no television on all the time, no cell phones. There was conversation, stories, laughter, and food made slowly, with simple ingredients, but with so much flavor you never forgot it. Number 1, the Sunday table. But do you know which dish really disappeared from Canada? It wasn't the torture, nor the molasses cake, nor the homemade bread. It was the Sunday table. That table set with a checkered tablecloth where the whole family sat, grandparents, parents, children. Where food was served on platters and everyone helped themselves. Where people talked about the week, about life. Where there was no rush, where time stood still for an hour or two. Today we eat quickly, alone, standing up, looking at screens. And we lose not only the dishes, we lose the ritual, the connection, the shared time.